Hey Traillites, you are listening to the Traill Happy Box Hour, broadcasting through the facilities of Trent Radio at 92.7 CFFF FM in Peterborough, Ontario, Canada. My name is Amanda Owen, and we have a special episode of the Happy Box Hour today. Joining me on this episode is the president of the university, Dr. Leo Groarke. And you may be wondering, what's happening on the college at the Hill? Are you an upper year student? Are you working on an exciting research paper? Then the 3-minute paper 3MP competition may be for you. Open to upper year undergraduate students, the 3MP competition challenges undergraduates to present their work to others. Participants have 3 minutes to explain their research from one major assignment in an upper year course for cash prizes and bragging rights. For more information, you can check out www.trentu.ca/3MP. And before we start the show today, I want to express my gratitude and extend a very warm welcome to Dr. Leo Groarke, the president of Trent University, for joining me today on the Traill Happy Box Hour.
Hi, Leo. Welcome to the Happy Box Hour. So lovely to have you on today for the show. And could you introduce yourself to listeners about who you are and what you do at Trent as the president of the university?
Hello, everyone. I'm Leo Groarke. I'm the 8th president of Trent University. I will say that I am a philosophy professor by trade, and maybe we'll talk a little bit about that. And I will share just one anecdote. As it turns out, my first job teaching in university was at Trent University. It was about 30 years ago. It was a part-time job during the summer, and I taught one course on the Simons campus and one course in Durham. And I never in a million years imagined that I would be coming back to Trent University as president to sort of end and, as kind of closure for my career. But I'm delighted that it's happened. And I feel very fortunate that it has.
That's pretty interesting that you started your career here a little bit. Now you're all back at the top end. That's pretty cool. And how would you describe your typical day as a president of the university? I think some students kind of wonder, what do you do? And what is your role here?
So I would say there isn't any typical day because it all depends on what's happening. But I would invite listeners to think of it this way. The president's job is really the connection between the university and the external community. So an awful lot of my work, is with the Board of Governors. More deeply, it's with the government. We're a government institution. There are constantly regulations, negotiations with the government. These days, of course, about COVID, that never stops. We have relations with donors. We have relations with Peterborough. We have relations with Oshawa. So that tends to be a focus. Now, whenever there are very serious issues at the university, they percolate up, and then I get involved in those internal issues. But the day-to-day internal issues, academic issues, they're really dealt with by the deans, the vice president of research, the vice president academic. I'm mostly concerned with our external relations, but for serious internal issues, I of course get involved in those as well.
Okay. Yes, I'm sure COVID has been such an interesting thing to deal with, like externally with governments and communities for sure. And so would you say that's one of the biggest challenges you've had to face at Trent?
Certainly one of them. There have been other challenges. I always say, I'm so lucky to have this position, but it's not because it's an easy position. There are lots of challenges for universities. COVID has certainly been one of them. I will tell you that I'm tremendously impressed with the Trent community. We've had to pivot to online. If somebody had asked me 2 years ago, is that possible to basically close your campuses? I would say, no, that's crazy. Don't be ridiculous. We can't do that. But we did do it. Of course, there are all sorts of complications and bumps along the way, but we've done it. We've now done it multiple times. So I've been very pleased with it. But it has absolutely been a challenge. Maybe part of that is that the situation continually changes. So, I mean, one of the things we've learned with COVID is you wait 2 weeks and you're dealing with a different situation, let's say from public health, or the province has a new idea about what we need to do at universities, or the faculty or students want different things. And they tend to want different things. So that's an added complications. But certainly COVID has been an exceptional issue. I try to think of things positively. So I think we have all had to learn how to be a lot more resilient. And we've learned that as a community, we can be resilient. So there are some good things there, but I'm tired of COVID. I want it to go.
Yes, I think a lot of students relate to that point as well. And I guess pivoting maybe a little bit further away from the questions here, but I was just curious what you would think on this. But would you say that universities might switch to a more online remote offerings in the future based off like kind of like what you were touching on there of like 2 years ago, you would have said, no, we couldn't do that. That's not possible. Do you think that is like where university or higher education might go towards is like the remote digital options?
So Amanda, thank you for that question. I think it's a really great question. My short answer, if I have one word, would be no. But I want to say more about that. And I would say that at the start of the COVID crisis, there were all sorts of people writing about post-secondary education that said, this is the moment it all changes. And this is the moment where everything goes online and it's about virtual learning. And there is a sort of grain of truth in that it's certainly true. And at Trent, it's true that we have to do more online. We have to make sure what we do online works really well. And we will be doing more of that than we did before. And COVID, in a way, has pushed us in that direction in a good way. But I don't believe personally that there is going to be a major move away from in-person learning. For certain students, of course, if you're a single parent in Toronto and you want to get a degree and Trent specializes in it, you want to get a Trent degree, for you, absolutely online and the best online possible, that's the way to go. But I think our experience at Trent has been that students want in-person experience, and the faculty too want in-person experience. And above and beyond that, to me, that's where education happens in the best way. And I'll just give one example. We talk about teaching people about equity and diversity, and you can read some books and you can be on a computer screen with people who are diverse. In lots of cases, all the screens will be blacked out anyway. You won't see them. If you want to learn about diversity, go to a diverse community and be part of that community. Sit in the same room with diverse people. Be even forced to interact with them. Work with them in clubs. On Trent Radio, on your campus. So there were people that have predicted we're not going back to in person. That's not my impression at Trent University.
We're going to take a quick music break and listen to Dreaming Out Loud by I the Mountain.
Take your time, come and meet me by the seaside. 'Cause all my life I keep dreaming of you. Follow the signs, come and meet me in the moonlight. 'Cause all my life I keep dreaming of you. I can't keep on second guessing myself. I can't keep on living like I'm someone else. 'cause all my life I keep dreaming of you. I can't keep on second guessing myself. I can't keep on living like I'm someone else. You've got me dreaming out loud. You've got me dreaming out loud. I will be there when the sun goes down. I will be there when the sun comes out. I will be there when the sun goes down. I will be there when the sun comes out. I will be there when the sun goes down. I will be there when the sun comes out. I will be there when the sun goes down. I will be there when the sun comes out. I will be there when the sun goes down. I will be there when the sun comes out. I will be there when the sun goes down. I will be there. You've got me dreaming out loud. 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 You've got me dreaming out loud.
And that was Dreaming Out Loud by I the Mountain.
I think most people would be really happy to hear that, especially thinking that in-person experiences are so much more meaningful than digital ones for sure. And in 2016 here, you commissioned a report on the future of Traill, probably one of my favorite spaces at Trent University personally, and sort of kind of like led to a lot of different changes and ongoing changes at the college here at Traill. And are you happy with those changes so far?
I am. And if I might, I would say that review by Chris Tyndale, who's now at the University of Windsor, but was the senior tutor at Traill. That was, I'm sorry, because we're using this word too much, but that was a pivotal moment. So the situation when I came was that there were a lot of people calling for us to close Traill College. And of course, if you look historically, when they closed Peter Robinson, the idea was first to close Traill as well. Then the board relented and Traill stayed open. But when I came, there was still a lot of people that felt for financial reasons and other reasons, that's what we should do. I didn't want to just kind of wade into it myself. I wanted to get a serious look at it. And I wanted it to be done by somebody who was sympathetic to Traill. So I brought in somebody who was the senior tutor, who's an academic. And excuse me, that changed the dialogue in that his report came out very positive about, even from a financial point of view, but also from an academic and from a community point of view, what we should be doing is keeping Traill. And what we need to do was to do various things to make sure that it succeeds. And Traill, students may not realize this, but Traill was a pivotal point because we made a decision after that report to turn all the colleges, if you like, back in time to make them more like the colleges were traditionally at Trent University. And they had sort of become residences plus. But we decided, for example, that we would have principals. The principals would be professors. We would try to create college communities And so it's not just trail, but we ended up reorganizing the university from that point of view. We decided to put the Swansea Law Program at Traill because colleges only work if there's activity and things happening there. That's one that made a whole lot of sense. There's still things to do. We appointed, and I do believe it, a great principal to oversee Traill and made that a permanent position at Traill College. So we've started to move in a positive way. There's still things to do, but I am happy with the direction in which we're moving.
If you're just tuning in, you are listening to the Traill Happy Box Hour, broadcasting through the facilities of Trent Radio at 92.7 CFFF FM in Peterborough, Ontario, Canada. My name is Amanda Owen, and joining me today is Dr. Leo Groarke.
I was glad to hear that. And I think that Traill is a wonderful place to be, and it sounds like you like it too. And I'm curious to know what is your favorite space at Traill, if you have one?
Well, you have to love, I'll say a couple of things. Scott House, Bagnani Hall with, the piano and the painting of Mrs. Bagnani. And, I've done some philosophy lectures actually in there. What a wonderful place for that. But if I'm really honest about it, my favorite place at Traill is Michael Eamon's office. And I hope it's okay to say this, but, I've given the principal of Traill a bottle of scotch. And if I go to Michael Eamon's office, I can have a little bit of scotch and chat with him about Traill. And he's, as you know, very welcoming. And I think he actually has got a lot of credit for moving Traill forward. So that's my absolute favorite spot. But Traill in general is kind of a wonderful campus, and I like to be there.
I will be for sure to tell Michael that. I'm sure he'll be happy to know. And so I did talk to Michael and actually got some assistance from him with developing some of these questions for today. And so I heard that you were an avid kayaker. And so for the winter months, as we're currently in right now, what do you do for a sport in the winter if you have one?
Well, it's funny. Some things work. And me coming back to Trent, for me personally, it just has worked out in so many ways. I believe in liberal arts and science education. That's what Trent is about. I love the area. And you're right, I'm an avid kayaker. And for an avid kayaker, Trent is a great place to be. I live in Lakefield and we live on the water, so I can actually kayak right outside my house. I would say I do kayak in the winter. So I've been in Peterborough for 7 years now, and I have this thing. We all, look for ways to organize our lives. And I made a commitment to myself, and I won't go crazy and risk my life on it, but I made a commitment to make sure that I kayak every month of the year. And for 7 years, I've kayaked every month of the year, usually in Lakefield, but actually sometimes I come to Trent because the water tends to stay open here. So I continue to kayak, but this January, it's weird. So far, I've only got one kayak ride in. It's been funny weather. On January 1st, it's a good thing I got it in. Beyond that, I would mention I do yoga every morning, and that's kind of how I collect my thoughts and, get ready for the day. And, I work out on elliptical sometimes and stationary bicycle, but during the winter, mostly it's yoga, but there's a bit of kayaking in there for sure. And I will tell, please do not kayak in the winter if you're not prepared and ready for it and have a wetsuit or a dry suit. That's a dangerous thing to do. But if you are a comfortable kayaker and you have the proper equipment, it's quite beautiful to kayak in the winter. It's absolutely stunning on the water.
That's really impressive. I wasn't expecting to be able to kayak in the winter, but then I guess as you would know at Trent and like even in the Lakefield area, the rivers don't freeze over, right? So like I guess that's a pretty cool experience for sure.
It's interesting because right now it's starting to be too much ice because that's the key.
Yeah.
You put your finger on it. The river keeps open because it moves, but with the cold weather we've had just in the last week, it's starting to ice over. But still, you can kind of go along the ice and in, and I'm willing to do that at least once every month. I will tell you because I enjoy this, and people say, "Oh, Leo, wow, that's impressive. You kayak in the winter." But in Lakefield, where I live, there's a woman there who swims every day.
Oh, wow.
And I have occasionally kayaked by her with the ice, and she's swimming in the water. So I don't think I get the gold medal, but
She's definitely brave, that's for sure.
apparently this is healthy for you. I'm not willing to go. I once jumped into the water just for fun to see what it was like, and yeah, I'm not going there.
That would be like a polar plunge for sure. Too cold.
Exactly.
And maybe when those days are a bit too cold, do you have anything that you'd like to watch on Netflix or any other streaming service, any sort of favorite show?
Yes. So I have to admit I'm not a movie watcher. I watch the news almost every day. That matters to me. There's a funny thing here, which is there's one place in which I used to watch films, and that's when I travel. And because of COVID, I haven't traveled for a year and a half now. We had travel plan to Italy and to China and to Hong Kong and to Vietnam. That's one of the things I do in my job is I travel an awful lot to meet with alumni, to recruit students, to talk to other institutions. So without the travel, I haven't really been watching films. The last film I watched was on a plane, and it was a biopic of Winston Churchill. I don't remember who the actors were. It was very good. I like biographies, but mostly what I do is I read. I want to be careful about saying it, but maybe I'm old-fashioned that way. But I read voraciously. So, I'm thinking what shows I watch. I don't really watch shows beyond the news, and here and there I look at things on YouTube. I think my wife watches Sheepishly Me. I don't know if that rings a bell, which is it's a woman who has a sheep farm, and it's really just watching what happens. We like gardening and we like the outdoors, so I watch that a little bit, but not a lot.
Okay, yes, I would say I'm pretty much the same. I like to read a lot more than watch movies or TV, but there are some really interesting documentaries on Amazon Prime, I would say. They're all about like epic hiking trails and just like outdoor landscapes, talking about like different adventures you can go on. It's in like Canada. There's a lot of ones on Canada specifically. So those are quite interesting. But other than that, I would say reading's definitely the activity.
Okay. Well, I worry sometimes that, friends joke that I am not very much in touch with popular culture. And, I want to be, when my children were their various ages, that kept me in touch. And I don't want to be too far removed, but what I find is I read about popular culture and hopefully that keeps me close. The kinds of documentaries you're talking about, I probably get because, I work very late at night, and I have a rule that the last thing I do can't be work because then I can't sleep. So, I read a novel or I read a book of some sort, or I watch YouTube and I just look for some interesting documentary on YouTube and watch it.
That is definitely a good way to end your day, not with work.
Okay.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for coming on today. I appreciate your time, and it was nice chatting with you.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, Amanda. Have a good year, and hopefully you're in person in classes soon.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it. Have a nice day.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
And to end off the show today, we're going to play Blueberry Pie by Mary Kate Edwards.
Laughing high, back and low, when small brown eyes begin to flicker, my chest starts to echo. Should I let the fire touch the wicker? 'Cause the wicker, that's my start, and my heart shaped like a half-empty pitcher. Should I let you fill part, let you bleed and smudge into this picture? That is my thoughts and my songs. Let these words right every wrong. Words my lips send on homing pigeons, tying the shape of us like a ribbon. You're like the tender warmth of my oven. You seep into the smell of my kitchen when I bake blueberry pie. I ask myself why. Well, why I'm with somebody else. Oh, why can't I help myself? 'Cause I know that I want you. I'm just not so sure that you do. Well, I've been thinking, I've been sinking, 'cause my heart breaks, my heart breaks each time I make, each time I make, each time, each time, each time I make, each time I make blueberry pie.
And that was Blueberry Pie by Mary Kate Edwards. Thanks for tuning in to the Traill Happy Box Hour, broadcasting through the facilities of Trent Radio at 92.7 C-Triple-F FM in Peterborough, Ontario, Canada. My name is Amanda Owen, and we look forward to chatting next week. Check out Traill College on Instagram for more #TrailWow content at Traill College. Bye for now.